Amazing. We're live, everyone. Welcome to another live of us that is a mixture of the Ask Your Mentor Anything and success stories that we're going to discuss together today. We have Antonio Gualardia. Am I pronouncing correct your name, Antonio?
Yes, Gualardia, yes.
Gualardia,
Thank
amazing
you.
Italian. Thank you for accepting my invitation to join us live here today. And also, we have such a great topic that we're going to discuss. I saw so much interest on LinkedIn, so let's see if people are joining us to share the link. In the meantime, would you like to introduce yourself for those that do not know you, like a brief bio of yours?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Virginia, for having me. And my name is Antonio Gualardia Merit. I am an Italian interpreter, translator. I've been living in the UK for almost 18 years. And at the moment, I am a full-time translator, interpreter. I would say more interpreter, conference interpreter, and translator. I interpret from Italian into English, English into Italian. I also do Spanish into Italian, French into Italian, and sometimes I do also Spanish into English. And my main specialization is medicine, pharmaceutical, tax, and business mainly.
Mm-hmm.
And I started my career a long time ago. I always say that I was born translator. I started in 2002, 2001, 2002. I got a degree in languages in Italy, and I moved to Milan
Mm-hmm.
from Pescara,
Mm-hmm.
Abruzzo, and I moved to Milan, where I started working as a translator. And in the meantime, I was an English teacher. And in the meantime, I started a PhD in translation studies in Bologna. And then in 2007, 2008, I completed my PhD in translation studies,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved to the UK, where I kept on doing translating, working as a translator and as a teacher, um, French, Spanish, Italian teacher
Mm-hmm.
for English speakers. And now, after the COVID, I started, let's say, a brand new career, but it's not brand new, as interpreter. And in the last 3 years, mainly conference interpreter.
You have a very interesting story, and that's why I invited you also, apart from your background and the academic background, that many people would like to hear your opinion on the topic that we are actually going to discuss, like conference interpreting in the era of AI, which is going to be the second part of our life.
Yeah.
Because many people like you might have started with a different direction, like you started teaching, as you mentioned, and maybe they're thinking of entering the market. And maybe because of AI on all the developments and all the discussions that we are hearing, maybe they're thinking it twice or three times, or maybe they have rejected that kind of idea. But because you have success stories, maybe we can inspire people and motivate those that they're really interested in pursuing such a career to follow your advice, and maybe also to be inspired by your story and take the leap, like take the step that actually is needed just to reach their goals. So that's why you're here. Let's start by answering the most common questions asked by my mentees. How did you enter the translation market? Let's say more or less you answered that. Can I ask you, why did you start teaching first? Was it your degree related to that? Because you mentioned that you studied
Yes.
translation. Is that
So
correct? Yeah.
yes, I started as a translator
Mm-hmm.
um, in 2001, 2002,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time as English teacher. Well,
Mm-hmm.
my degree was in languages,
Mm-hmm.
so nothing to do directly with translation.
No,
So it
no
was,
teaching though. No teaching. Is that correct?
sorry?
Neither translation nor teaching though.
Yeah,
You.
yeah, yeah. But
Mhm.
it was basically literature, English and the Spanish literature and
Okay.
language.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So why I started with translation? Because I always as I said before, Virginia, I was born a translator,
Mm-hmm.
and I will die as a translator. Because I always been fascinated by translating and uh, translating cultures,
Mm-hmm.
not just words, of course, but cultures, worlds, identities. So I've always been fascinated about that. And then I switched into interpreting because I like talking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very comfortable in when I talk
Mm-hmm.
to people, and when I teach, when I lecture. I forgot to tell you that I worked as a lecturer as well on translation studies, as a speaker, visiting speaker. And it's always been my passion, to make this clear that translation is not just a word transfer.
And what
It's
made you to change, let's say, that career path, that you're such an established, colleague in the academic field as a professor? What made you, let's say, change your path and becoming, as you mentioned in your title that you chose to discuss today, for a full-time, is that correct? You mentioned
Yeah.
for a full-time teacher to actually full-time freelancing, is that correct?
Yes, because maybe teaching can be more comfortable in a matter of you know seeing money coming in, rolling in, but it's not my passion at the end of the day. My passion is to meet people, to get to know people, to travel, and to help people who want to be helped. And sometimes students don't want to be helped.
I
You
see
know
people
what I mean?
joining us live. So thank you everyone for joining us live. If you have questions about Antonio's story or Antonio in general, use the comments below and let us know. We would love to answer any questions related to the topic or Antonio's story. So don't hesitate. I'm sorry, Antonio interrupted you. So you were saying?
Yeah, no, feel free to interrupt me, Virginia. And hello everyone, and feel free to ask me any question.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So basically, as I said, I always wanted to be an interpreter.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I think that I was probably 10 years old when I was watching TV and I saw this person, this
Mm-hmm.
lady,
Mm-hmm.
listening in English and replying in Italian or in another foreign language, and it was fascinating. At first, I thought it was fake, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Is this woman a human?
Yeah,
Can you do that?"
I
And
see.
yes, then I was always, and then I kept on, and yeah,
I think many interpreters out there they will relate, uh,
yes,
let's say, with your story here. Practically speaking, so let's go to practical details. So if something is considering, let's say, changing their career, like what did you do to enter, let's say, the full freelancing, let's say, as an interpreter and translator? I know your story, but I'm asking you just to share, let's say,
yeah,
with the
of
rest of the
course,
people watching us, and maybe they will get inspired from your story as well. Of course, for those that they will stay until the end, we're going to share your portfolio you see here, which not yet. So as to showcase, let's say, also your expertise, your background, and also some marketing material we created together that I feel also very proud.
yes,
Okay, perfect. No, only questions related to the topic, guys. If you have off the topic questions, you drop them in the comments, but we're not sure if we are going to have the time to answer them because we don't want to overwhelm you staying over than 1 hour here live. So let's continue with Antonio's practical steps
yes,
that you took to enter freelancing, Antonio. And
yes,
also, if you remember, because the most common questions from my mentees are, let's say, the one most common question is, why translation? You answered that, and why interpreting in your case? How did you enter the market? You are going to answer right now. And the next most common question is, how did you find your first client? And if you remember any scale up moments. So we are going to answer those questions now.
yes. You just need to try. You just need to start.
Mm-hmm,
You just need to have passion, and it's not, of course, another overnight success. It's a
mm-hmm,
journey.
mm-hmm.
So it's not. it cannot be clear, linear, you know. But it's also a matter of learning. Of course, you need to face fear and setbacks. Of course, it's normal, but it's life. It's a circle, you know. So to answer your question, Virginia, is you just need to answer to start. And in my case, I remember I started contacting agencies, and I remember I must admit that at the very beginning I wasn't very successful because I was coming from a language degree. I had zero knowledge of translation. So can you imagine? I applied for as a translator, as freelance translator from Spanish into English, English into French, French in, because I didn't have any. Because I remember I had studied French in school, and I said, okay, let's try into French, you know. Of course, we are talking about ages ago, 25
years ago.
years
Okay.
ago. Yeah. So.
And do you remember your first client and the first project that you got?
Yes.
Can
it
you
was.
share?
It was. Yes. It was a doctor.
Okay.
I was living in Milan. She was a doctor. I was 25. She was like 29. And she called me and she said, I've got a pack of documents to be translated into Italian from English. Can I show you the things you need to do? I said, of course. Can you send via email? And she said, well, no. Can I handle the paper version to you?
Yeah, that's very common, yeah, for legal translation.
Yes, and basically she knocked at the door, literally after 2 hours, with a pile of documents.
Of course, 25 years ago, but still nowadays we have same situation sometimes.
Yes, and I was like, oh my God. And, you know, the magic started.
So that was a translation project, is that correct?
Yes, that was my first translation project. We're talking about 2002.
Do you remember your first interpretation project? Because we have so much interest in the comments about people asking for interpretation, so we're going to answer those questions.
Yes, my first interpretation project, to be honest with you, the real one, it was 7 years ago.
Okay.
But when I say the real one, I mean paid, because I've always been an interpreter. Because you know, I've always had foreign friends, and I always, you know, and I must admit, I used to have an hotel, a family-run hotel in Italy, and I remember I was 10 years of age, and I started basically speaking English with the clients of the hotel.
Okay, so you had some kind of experience, but it was not formal, let's say, the way. But so 7 years ago, the first interpretation project, to reply that?
Yes, and it was on the phone for various agencies. And you may believe it or not, but you may believe it or not, I helped a mother delivering a baby.
Wow. So you feel proud as well. That's that's very sentimental.
Yes, yes.
Where did they find you, those clients? Let's say for the first project for translation that you described and the second one for interpretation. Do you remember, had you applied to agencies? Was through word of mouth, referral? Do you remember? How did you get your first clients for both translation and interpretation project?
Yes, I remember regarding translation in 2002, my mentor at that time gave me some contacts because I completed a master in medical translations in a school in Milan. So I think my mentor gave me some clients.
For interpretation, that was it?
No, translation.
For translation 25 years ago. Amazing. So you've been into mentoring, which is the upcoming question. What's your relationship with mentoring? So you believe in mentoring many years now.
Course.
Okay.
Yes. Of course.
And for interpretation, how did you get the first interpretation project, your first client? Do you remember?
For interpretation, I think, if I remember well, it was before COVID, and it was on Google. I started looking, and I remember the first clients, agencies, yes, and just searching on Google, I think, yeah.
And the last question I'm asking from my mentees, let's say the most common question, is if you remember any scale-up moment that you have had in your career throughout the years. We consider a scale-up moment that you were able to earn a huge amount of money, that actually you were able to reinvest in your business, or a moment that you actually started getting the projects that you were wishing for, or a moment that you remember as lucrative or profitable, let's say, era in your career. Do you remember such a moment?
Yes, I remember. I remember, to be honest with you, it was my first project in translation, for example, and it was 3,000 euros.
Wow, I remember 3,000 euros was also my first scale-up moment.
Yeah.
Yes, I earned in 1 week the amount that I was earning, let's say, 3 months back then. So it was a huge success for me.
Yes.
So it was a similar story. Is that correct? Was from an agency or direct client?
It was a direct client, I must admit. Yes, a direct client.
So
but
we have
also,
yes.
Also for the interpreting on the phone, I remember 500 £500 in a day.
Wow. Which actually should be the minimum nowadays anyway.
Yes.
So we have such great interest in the comments. We have Dolores Rojo. Thank you for sharing your interest in the comments. Can you share with us where are you watching us from? I'm always very curious. So Dolores, if you would like to share also, where are you watching us from? So Dolores says, what is your opinion of AI for linguists who want to be also interpreters in the near future? I assume that's your question, Antonio. You can see here on your screen the question.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Dolores, for this question. So it's very interesting. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask everyone a question. Do you think that AI will replace interpreters?
Very interesting question. So Dolores, Kevin, everyone that is watching us, let us know in the comments. Answer Antonio's question. Do you think that AI will replace us? And by us, Antonio, you mean linguists or interpreters?
Yes, because it's linguist. It's an umbrella term, of course. Linguist can be a teacher, a language teacher, of course, which is we belong to the same family, but it's from different corners.
So Argentina, Dolores from Argentina.
Argentina.
Thank you so much, Dolores, for being here with us. Great. And great question. So would you like to answer the question? And I can also give my insights, Antonio.
Yes. So what is your opinion? Well, I think that we shouldn't be scared of AI. AI can be a friend. It can be a support for us. And AI I think, will never replace us, at least in our generation. Then, of course, we don't know what's going to happen in 50 years, of course. But if you think about it, when do we use AI now? How do we use AI now? So AI is used by users for travel situations. For example, my aunt doesn't speak any Spanish. My cousin lives in Spain now. She uses AI to get by. So travel situations, very basic communication. I don't know, emergency chats, or rough understanding of content. But I think our job is different. Our job is beyond words, beyond terms. So it's, especially interpreters, guys, we're talking about irony, we're talking about sarcasm, how to convey the message, the concept, not the word. So I'm not scared about AI. In a way, I love AI because I use AI. I must admit, I use it every day. To check a document, to double check a document, or to to write a glossary for my interpreting project. So AI makes life easier for us. So we always should consider AI as an ally, not an enemy. And of course, people may say, but clients started using AI instead of us. Yes, but
What do you
this
think
has
about linguists that will want also to be interpreters in the near future? That says Dolores. So I assume that Dolores is thinking of turning into interpretation as well. What do you think? Would you agree with that, Antonio? What's your opinion? Is that an option, let's say, to overcome any AI, let's say, limitations that we're going to face?
But it depends on what we mean when we say linguist, because
I assume translators, but yeah, Dolores, what do you mean by linguists here? So let's ask the Dolores directly. Do you mean you as a translator, Dolores? What do you mean linguist in general? Are you a copywriter? Are you a localization expert? What's your language specialist that you mentioned on your profile? Applies for, like, what is it about? Like, thanks for your super interesting conversation, for being positive. I'm with you too. So Dolores agrees with you, Antonio, that we're not going to be placed soon enough. But Dolores, can you share with us, like, what do you mean by linguist? So maybe Antonio's answer can be more precise to your question. In general, let's say, waiting for Dolores' answer, I would say that adding interpretation on your portfolio, yes, translators mainly, she says, Dolores. So she means, like, as translators, to add interpretation in the portfolio, let's say, or the service. So for me, adding interpretation, Dolores, practically means that you're going to add another service. For me, it's very difficult as a translator to do interpretation because you need to be very highly trained to do that. Especially if it's going to be simultaneous, if it's going to be very highly specialized, like medical, pharmaceutical fields, and you need to be very good at what you're doing. Otherwise, I don't think that the industry will keep you there. So if you're considering entering that market, that's my, let's say, opinion, but I would love to hear Antonio's as well, that I'm not an interpreter myself, even if I had 2 years studies, like my degree has 2 years studies of interpretation included, but I'm a certified translator, graduated from my university. I believe that is a good option. I don't feel that translation is more, let's say, is in the worst case right now, worst situation, rather than interpretation. I think both of those services are at the same stage. So I don't feel like by becoming an interpreter, you will be able to overcome any, let's say, difficulties that we're facing in the field or in the industry in general. So I see that Antonio agrees. Yeah. So I don't feel it as an option to overcome. Getting more direct clients or changing your client acquisition strategy, for me, that would be the best way to overcome right now AI implications in our field, because direct clients will be the least ones to integrate AI in the translation interpretation processes. But that's my opinion. I don't know, Antonio, what's your opinion? She says, Dolores says, I'm a translator from English into Spanish. Okay. Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you, Virginia, and thank you, Dolores. I do agree with you, Virginia. It's, as I said, and I want to insist on this point, I do use AI every day for marketing, for client acquisitions. It's faster, but again, AI will never replace us. My question, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever tried using ChatGPT for a translation?
That goes to Dolores, the question. So Dolores, have you ever tried ChatGPT? But actually, Dolores' question was specifically like, what's your opinion from turning from a linguist or translator and getting into interpretation? So it's very specific, the question. Of course, in terms of AI era, okay, she mentioned that in the near future. So she says, what's your opinion for linguists who want to be also interpreters?
Okay.
If you okay, it's not mandatory if you don't have,
Yeah, of course. I was born translator and I became an interpreter.
So you are the best, case to share your own story and your own opinion. Why Dolores is asking
interpreting, it's I wouldn't say difficult, and translator is easy, no, far from it. Okay. But in my case, for example, the way I say it, if you want to be an interpreter, you need to practice every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you think about it, especially simultaneous,
Mm-hmm.
it is something that it's unnatural. The fact that you listen and you talk at the same time. So you need to learn this ability. It's just walking backwards.
And the only way to do that is by practicing it on a daily
The
basis.
only way is practicing. The only way. And it's good to fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal.
So would you agree people to turn into interpretation as translators nowadays? Do you feel there is room for that? Do you feel that AI will affect, let's say, I think that we have clarified that AI is not that strong right now
Yes.
let's say, delete the profession. But do you feel there is enough room?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think so, especially
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be to focus on a market,
Yeah.
like, for example, pharmaceutical or law, or because I think there is still room, there is
Okay.
still requests.
So
But
Dolores,
again, it's practice,
yeah.
daily practice.
Thank you so much, Antonio. So, Dolores, let us know, Dolores, if we have answered your question. But short and to sum up, I would suggest, and based on what Antonio just said, to become highly specialized if you are thinking of entering the market, because it's highly saturated, let's say. So, being specialized and highly specialized in the field will help you to differentiate from competition. And for me, in general, I wouldn't add a new service just to become more competitive in order to overcome the limitations of AI, but I would consider of creating a more efficient client acquisition strategy, focusing on attracting more direct clients. That would be my answer to AI, let's say right now, fear that we have.
Yes.
So let us know, Dolores, if you have answered your question or if there is anything else you would like to add. So let's continue with Kevin's question. Kevin, thank you so much for your question. Can you let us know where are you watching us from? I'm always very curious. And Kevin says, do you consider it as a stressful job as compared to a translator working remotely? And thank you, Kevin, for that question. I think Antonio is a great person to answer because Antonio has both backgrounds. He has started as a translator. He has become this last 7 years a professional interpreter, even if he was practicing that unofficially for many years. And he has the academic background. He has been a professor. So I think, Antonio, you're the best person to reply that because you have, let's say, the experience of both types of professional types, let's say, of our job, let's say, practicing yourself. Like, do you consider, Kevin says, as a stressful job as compared to a translator?
Okay, yes. Well, first of all, Kevin, thank you very much for your question. It's very interesting. It's I assume you're referring translator, being a translator, being as stressful as an interpreter.
Exactly.
Probably. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes and no, because translating can be extremely stressful.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference, I think, it's in timing. I'll tell you what I mean. Okay, you translate a text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not happy with a word. Okay, you stop translating and you do something else. But that word is in your head. It said, okay, what is the perfect translation of that word? And it haunts you, basically.
Exactly.
It never leaves you. Okay. While in interpreting, you have seconds to find a solution, and then it's gone. So it's, do you know what I mean? I think I hope I was clear. It's both are very stressful.
I can give my hint, even if I
Yes,
haven't
of
been an
course.
interpreter. Kevin says he's watching from Vichy, France. Amazing. So people from France are watching us as well. He says that he works from English and Russian into French. I suppose, Kevin, that you are a translator only, not an interpreter. Is that correct? Kevin, are you considering entering the interpretation market? That's why you are asking this question. I would be very curious to find out. Kevin, let us know in the comments. But for me also, and even if right now I feel like I regret my decision I took back then when I was studying translation interpretation, and I actually chose the path of translation, because at my degree at my university department, translation interpretation, you have to choose at the end of your studies either translation or interpretation. Of course, you have the option to add two more years so as to add interpretation. But I decided to go full translation because of the stress. So stress, Kevin, was one reason I didn't take that path, even if nowadays I regret it because I speak very fast and I have a good, let's say in Greek at least, good pronunciation. So I feel I would possibly be very good at that if I was trained enough. But the stress that you are there and you need to make a decision on the one term, for example, that Antonio gave an example, and you cannot take it back. And you don't have the time to research like you do with translation. It was the reason that I didn't select interpretation. But again, if you feel that you're very good at, go for it. And here, for example, in Greece, it's very well paid. So we have a minimum for a full day translation. I'm not referring to remote interpretation or phone interpretation, but conference interpreting, okay, is highly paid here in Greece, especially if they really value your skills. And it's for less budget sensitive industries like pharmaceutical or business, and people that really focus on the high quality. Those are my 5 cents, let's say here. Thank you for your answer, says Kevin. He says, you're right, I only translate, but might be considering switching to interpreting. You can switch or you can try both, Kevin, for a while would be my suggestion. But can I ask why, Kevin, you are considering entering the interpretation? I'm very curious as well. I feel like, is it the fear or the threat of AI that people in the comments, they have such a question, most of them turning from translation to interpretation. But definitely I feel that interpreting has different skills that you need to develop, and actually the practice that Antonio mentioned, that you need to practice on a daily basis, otherwise you've lost the train, let's say. But if you have questions for Antonio, let us know in the comments, because Antonio is the perfect example. He has been a translator and interpreter himself. He has turned from a full-time employee into full-time freelancing. So if you have such questions, if you're considering yourself entering the freelance or interpretation industry, let us know, because Antonio is here and he can actually answer your questions. So Antonio, getting back to our topic in the meantime, since we don't have any more questions, is there anything else you would like to add about conference interpreting in the era of AI, since that's our topic?
Yes. Yes. I read a lot of articles of clients, direct clients, starting using AI for conference gigs, and it's a disaster. Because of course they can even the voice, the mechanical voice, whatever you want to say, it can convey the message, but there's more than that. There's more than a word. Okay, so AI is not able to convey irony or intonation or cultural mediation. And if I may add something, I know for sure that at institutional levels, so for example, at the EU institutions, they refuse AI for interpreters.
Okay. There's a legislation about that?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
Do you have any resources people can find that legislation?
Actually, there's a lot of information in our website called EU Interpreting. There's a lot of information on, and of course they can contact me if they want further information about this.
How people they would like to contact you can find you on LinkedIn one way. Do you have any website or professional mail address you would like to share?
Yes, so I've got my for now LinkedIn. I am redoing
name here, so you can find Antonio with his full name here on LinkedIn and contact him directly. I will share also LinkedIn profile in the comments. And your email or your website if
I'm redoing my website. So at the moment is agminterpreting.co.uk, but it's basically just a landing page because I'm redoing a new version.
Do you have an email address that someone would like to contact you via email?
Yes, of course. It's info@agminterpreting.co.uk.
Okay, so it's UK. So we need, as he says, a political involvement and more regulation, says Kevin here. So he agrees. And he actually says here, I'm asking and considering because of rate pressure due to AI. Do you feel the same pressure in the interpreting industry? That's a great question. Like, since Antonio, you've been in both, let's say, fields yourself, and you've been active and getting clients for
Yes,
both services that you're offering. Do you feel the
yes.
same pressure for both industries?
Thank you, Kevin, again for this question. Very interesting. To be honest with you, no. Interpreting is different. So
So it's more on translation, let's say, the pressure that you feel?
I would say so. Yes.
And how do you recognize the pressure, Antonio? Is in terms of pricing or less projects?
I would say
Frequency?
in terms of pricing. But again, we're talking about agencies here. So agencies, translator, agency, interpreter,
So you
not
agree
direct
that
clients.
turn to direct clients. So Kevin, turn to direct clients. Before considering entering a new market to get new clients, try to make the most out of the existing. So most of you that you book a call with me and you're asking me what you should do, the first thing I would suggest you to do is to make the most out of your existing, let's say, clientele. So if you haven't contacted direct clients, if you haven't built a portfolio like we're going to showcase right now for
Yeah.
Antonio, you haven't done everything, okay, yet. When I share a short story yesterday, I was on a call, on a one-to-one call with a mentee of mine. He's an interpreter in Ireland, Dublin, and he mentioned that he's getting paid 20, let's say, local currency, euros, I assume, in Ireland. So 20 euros per hour for, let's say, on-site interpretation at health organizations, hospitals, and courts. So that's very low. And he mentioned that when he started the interpretation, he was getting 25. So even if the lifestyle and living expenses are getting higher, his price became lower. And of course, he didn't lower his own rate. The agencies suggested this rate. Can I give my 5 cents? If those agencies, they wouldn't be able to find interpreters for such a rate, low rate, would they continue lowering the rates? No. So we have a responsibility to this. The fact that this person that I had the call yesterday was accepting getting lower rates throughout the years was the reason why those agencies, they kept lowering the rates. And I understand that, because if they keep finding people that they accept those low rates, they will keep put pressure on rates for the years. And I don't know how, let's say, low the rates for interpretation will go. For me, 20 euros or 25 per hour, that's very low. It's very low in comparison to the skills that we need in order to be able to offer such services, to the money and time investment that we have made in order to reach that point, to have the skills to offer such services. And of course, the responsibility that we take, especially for medical and legal translation interpretation, you are the responsible. They don't cover him with insurance, for example, the agencies, in case of a mistake or something that happens, throughout the actual profession. So we need to take that into consideration. It's not AI that is pushing the rates, it's us as well that we are accepting those rates.
Yes.
That's food for thought. And another thing that this mentee actually told me is that he was working only for 3 agencies. So if you're depending on 3 or 2 clients, it's like you're an employee. If they are going to push the rates down, you're going to accept because you don't have more clients. What I'm teaching in my programs is how to be able to get on a consistent basis clients using AI or any other marketing tools, so as you to be able to replace the bottom feeders, to replace the low-paying clients with the better-paying clients. So that's food for thought. I don't know. I would love to hear your opinion in the comments. That's a real story, Antonio, that I share with you. It's very low, isn't it? The price that actually interpreters is getting paid in Ireland. It's very low.
Yeah. So if I may step in, Virginia, probably your mentee is working for community interpreting, right?
I don't recall, but he works only for hospitals and courts. Okay.
Yes. So that's, to be honest with you, that is a very interesting point, Virginia, because we need to learn to say no.
Exactly.
We need to protect the category. And things will come back, guys. I'm sure. I'm going to be very quick, Virginia. I need to tell you this story. It was probably 6 months ago. I accepted a face-to-face community interpreting gig. I went to the hospital here in Manchester, and there was this lady who was who couldn't see. Okay, she was Italian, and as soon as she heard my voice, she said, she almost burst into tears and said, "Oh my God, so you are Italian?" "Yes, I'm Italian." "So you can speak Italian?" Because apparently this agency hired the previous interpreter was paid peanuts, and that previous interpreter was not professional, was not Italian, and couldn't speak proper Italian.
That's why Kevin says we need more, let's say, regulation.
Yes. Yes. So we need to learn to say no, because we need to protect our category.
Exactly.
And we need to protect clients.
My 5 cents on that would be, let's say, the most common answer when I say to people, say no, okay, or reject a project. They tell me, "But Virginia, I need to make money, or I'm desperate and I need to pay bill." If you know, and if you knew, because most of you do not know how much you need to charge in order to be able to make ends meet or to make a profit, and you get accepted the rates that the agencies they're giving you, the clients are giving you, so you end up by the end of the month not be able to pay your bills, okay, or to cover your expenses. Who's that responsibility and let's say the blame? It's ours. First of all, we need to be professionals. We need to know how much we need to charge in order to pay our bills. That way, we wouldn't have accepted those rates if we knew how much we need to charge. And if we knew the moment that we were accepting this project that we won't be able by the end of the month to pay our bills by accepting those rates, and we're actually working for free for those clients, we wouldn't have accepted the problem. So that's an excuse for me that I don't have clients or I don't have income, I need to work. But if you work for peanuts, first of all, you won't be able to pay your bills, and you're working for free and you do not know that yet because you do not know your threshold, the minimum that you need to charge in order to be able to cover your expenses. Second is what actually Antonio just said, that we have responsibility to the whole profession. The moment that we accept lower rates, either we know it or not, but most of the times we know that we're accepting very low rates. We have responsibility, okay, against and towards our whole professional industry, because by accepting those low rates, more and more clients will be asking for those rates, and that is lowering the whole profession. That's why we're here today and we're discussing again about pricing and very low rates, because we have made that happen. Of course, the clients, either they are end clients or agents, they will be asking for less and less and lower rates. It's our responsibility not to accept it and to protect the whole profession that way. It's not about us and making money only. It's about our responsibility towards. So I have more than 60 client agencies, and the pressure comes from everywhere. But you're right, we have to protect ourselves. So Kevin, have you tried getting direct clients? No. So you have 60 agencies. Try to work with direct clients. Maybe it's different, okay? But I remember that when I started contacting agents, I had contacted 200 agencies in 1 week. I was desperate. You don't need to be desperate, but right now, only on pros.com, there are 80,000 agencies registered there. So by working only with 60, that's a good number, Kevin. Congratulations to you. But replace the bottom feeders with better paying clients. And there is always the option for direct clients. Have you tried working with direct clients, Kevin? I'm always very curious. But let's go to 3 last questions about the topic. So, Antonio, do you use AI apart from marketing in your interpretation service or translation service? Do you use AI?
Yes.
What tools?
I use AI to create the glossaries.
Okay, that's interesting. Yes. Are there any tools that you would like to share that you've been using and you find them interesting and helpful for other colleagues?
To be honest with you, the paying version of ChatGPT. The paying version.
That helps you also with interpretation and translation projects.
Yes, it's faster and yeah.
And what's your advice for someone who would like to enter the market, the interpretation market, since our topic is conference interpreting? What's your advice for someone that would like to enter, either translators changing from translator, getting into interpretation, or in general new colleagues that they would like to enter the conference interpretation market?
Yes. I would say go to school, go to a good university. Because of course you could do on your own, but you need constant feedback, and you need practice. But
Are
when
there
I
any
say practice, I mean every day.
Are there any courses that you suggest?
Well, in the UK, where I live, there are, for example, I went to the University of Leeds, which is very good. It's considered one of the top 3 for interpreting. I would also suggest London Metropolitan. Yes.
So those are formal education, is that correct? They're, let's say, not
Yes.
courses. They're
Yes.
MA, Masters of the, is that correct? Of Arts or okay, MAs,
postgraduate course, and they last basically, it's 1-year course.
So that's interesting. Kevin says that he has several direct clients. So do you feel the same pressure, Kevin, with direct clients? Do they pressure you with AI? Because I don't think direct clients, they actually have integrated AI in their processes. So Kevin, that is interesting. Do you feel the same pressure with the clients that you work with, direct clients, Kevin? Let us know in the comments. That's very interesting. So let's conclude the topic. Is there anything else you would like to add before we share your portfolio, Antonio?
Do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You need to do it. Don't listen to naysayers.
Yeah.
If your passion is interpreting, do it, because there's work. You can have a good business. But you need to be consistent, and as I said, it's not an overnight success.
Last thing that I've been hearing lately is that many departments of translation interpretation are closing in several different countries because there is no much interest. Students, let's say, entering the actual departments or universities, because you have this academic background. Have you seen such a thing, let's say in the UK or Italy, that you are from? Like, do you feel there is such an effect in the academic field?
Unfortunately, yes, Virginia. Yes, it's a fact.
So it's really positive. We need also to indicate, let's say, the real here scenario, that there are departments that are closing. Is that correct? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I used to work for the Salford University as a translation study lecturer, and they closed the department.
How? Why? Do you know?
Because they merged basically the department. So they closed the translation department, and the translation department was merged into a kind of history department.
More theoretical, okay.
Yes. To be honest with you, to answer your question, unfortunately, yes. But I can talk for the UK, and as we know, there's Brexit here.
Of course.
And things changed.
You think that Brexit affected that?
Yes.
Because I've heard it in other countries as well. That is not something that I've heard only in the UK.
I don't know about the other countries, but
in general, departments of translation and interpretation, they have been affected because of the developments. And I assume it has to do a lot with the fact that translators, they cannot find clients, or they cannot have a strategy. They do not know how to enter properly the market. So they leave the market. So there's no such an interest for new people to enter the market. And that's why we're here discussing the topic. That's why there's so much interest in the comments. People are asking such questions. So Kevin says, no, of course, there is less pressure from direct clients. So Kevin, that's a great answer. And that's very promising. So I would suggest you to go for more direct clients. So if you, let's say your percentage is 50-50, go for more like 60 or 70% from direct clients income and less from agencies. That's at least what I do in my business as well. So thank you so much, everyone. So let's go to your experience working with me, that I'm very proud having you in my program and working with you privately for the last 6 months, because you upgraded your 3-month program to a 6-month one-to-one VIP program with me. I don't know, shortly, if you would like, let's say, to share your experience. And for me, the main question is, why mentoring? You've been an established colleague. You mentioned that you're 25 years in the industry. I assume that you really appreciate and you value mentoring because you have had mentors throughout your years. But why now and why me?
I think we all need mentors, because, as I said, especially in our business can be not linear. It's not like, okay, this is the job from A to B. No, it's up and down, let's face it. And sometimes we need someone who can boost our I don't know how to say, who can boost us, yes, who can say keep on, you know. And I chose you because I really enjoyed, the process. I really enjoyed this journey. As I said, it's a journey. It's a never-ending journey, of course, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things that I knew in a way, but I didn't experience. So I really would say, if you can try try the mentor
So I understand
with
that you
her.
enjoyed the process, and thank you so much for your kind words. But before joining the program, you didn't know the process exactly, and you didn't know me well. Is that correct? So for people that they might be thinking of joining my program, what made you to make such a decision, which is quite an investment for most of colleagues
Yeah.
this year? What was the reason, if you remember? And then we're going to your portfolio.
To be honest with you, Virginia, I've been following you for a long time.
That's good. That's good to
Yes.
know, because people, the silent people buy. So I have many
Yes.
people who might be following me like Antonio, but
Yeah.
they're silent ones. So I do not know you guys. Say hello if you're here, or send me a message. I would be glad. So I built some kind of trust with you by sharing other stories.
Yes, and I know that you started a long time ago for free.
Of course, that's true. If
So
someone,
it's something we need to consider. That means that you got passion for this.
oh, that's the reason. Start with your why, guys. If you don't have passion for what you are doing, you are going to leave it sooner or later because of the difficulties that you are going. It was not easy for me to offer that, but if I was not that passionate about helping other colleagues and also the market in general and raising awareness around our profession, I wouldn't be here, because it's not that easy. So thank you so much, Antonio. I really appreciate. So one of the successes of yours, because I feel like we have many successes to share. I don't know if there is one success that you would like to share with the rest of the people, or one benefit of working with me throughout the 6 months. Is there anything you would like to share? Is your portfolio that I'm going to share. But before that, is there anything else that you would like to share as a success to people that are watching us? Like if you had one thing to share. Okay.
Yes. I think the most important thing, it's about direct clients. I finally understood how to approach direct clients. That is, you need to focus on the needs of the clients. So everything needs to be client focused, client oriented.
That's
So
something
you can have 3 PhDs, you can have all the skills, but you need to put under the spotlight your clients. In that way, you will attract the clients.
So thank you so much. I'm very happy that I was able to help you identify that. And I really appreciate your insights and your time that you spend here, guys. So one secret of mine when it comes to getting direct clients is creating very strong portfolios. And Antonio, he did invest a lot of time and effort, because he was also a full-time employee at some point. He was also working, getting clients and getting projects. So you owe it to you, Antonio, and your persistence. And also your creativity, because you created such a great logo that you see here, guys, on my screen. So congratulations. And if you have any questions, guys, about portfolio or in general interpretation, you can contact Antonio. You see here his contact details on the screen, but also you can find him on LinkedIn, and of course for project opportunities. So we chose the name. I had to review, let's say, and give you feedback on the logo, the colors that we chose together. So very interesting. The wording, okay, and here it is: AGM Interpreting Your Italian Voice, Conference Interpretation and Translation for the Pharmaceutical and Medical Industry. So this is a targeted portfolio, guys. We continue with a brief introduction, okay, of Antonio. And you see that Antonio is a doctor. He has PhD here. He has also his diploma in conference interpreting, master in medicine and pharmacology. Amazing. And you see here also Antonio's email address. He has 20 plus years of experience. You see the table of contents that actually is clickable here, so people that they can navigate through the actual portfolio. You see the languages that Antonio offers, the services through his company, Amazing. Why to work with us? It says because he has partnered. Is that correct, Antonio, with your life partner?
Yeah, my husband, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And they are working as a team, so they are the objectives, the solution, the results. Very interactive. I really like that we change here the columns. Amazing. And he focused on the results here, again, objectives and solution and results. Amazing. Did you get some help with the designing, Antonio, or was your husband that actually made this?
Well, I got some help from someone.
It's very impressive. Yeah, it's very
Yes.
impressive. You mean about the technical part?
Of course, not the contents, of course, yes.
The content is all yours, and I remember that we had review it. And
Yeah,
also, I
yeah,
like it's interactive.
it's ours. You
Exactly, it's
asked me.
clickable here. It's also clickable. Book me, so people they
Yeah.
can book a call with you. Do you have integrated Calendly, a calendar link? Is that correct?
Yes. I think, yeah.
And what clients are saying here is like also what were your concerns prior to working with me? What specifically was your favorite part of it? So those are replies from your clients. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you
yes.
protect, let's say, their privacy here by not having them. That's impressive. Congratulations. It's short, it's to the point. And the way that we create portfolios in my programs for direct clients, we focus on the results here, guys, okay? And how we help our clients get results rather than sample of our work. So we don't focus, because there is a misconception in our industry when it comes to portfolios, both for translators and interpreters, that we need to include, let's say, sample of our work. And I don't know interpreters how they create sample of their works, but I know, for example, translators, they put shows and target text and they share projects they have completed as a sample of their work. But that's not what it works for direct clients. If you would like to start attracting high-end clients, high-paying clients like Antonio, he does here through his company, you need a portfolio that showcases the end outcomes, results, and benefits that the clients get by working with you. Because most of the times, the direct clients, they don't have the linguistic skills to evaluate your sample of work that you consider as a portfolio. So by sending, let's say, 20 PDFs of previous projects completed, especially if they're not anonymized, maybe you are breaching an NDA most of the times. But in general, sending sample of your work, in case they don't have the linguistic background, you're losing your time. If you would like to build trust, because that's what we're missing with end clients, direct clients, and you need to build that trust, you need to share such kind of portfolios. And of course, you don't need to mimetize, let's say, Antonio's portfolio. You need to create something unique that is all about you and makes you different from all the competitors. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add, Antonio, about your portfolio? Something you would like me to showcase that I didn't?
You need to focus on the benefits that the clients can get. It's on the third slide, I think.
Okay, let's go
If you
there.
click very quickly. Yes, here, before. Yes, so case study 1, you need to focus on the benefits.
It's clickable
immediately.
That's very lovely. Yeah, it's also very nicely done. And you have the date, the type of client, the type of project, the objective, the solution, the results. That's amazing. So you need one slide that shows the 3 as well, technically speaking.
Yes, the results. That is what they are looking for, guys. They are very selfish. You know what I mean? They don't care about your PhD, if you're what they can get.
It doesn't sound very polite, but that's what guys build trust. Before they trust you, okay, they won't be interested about your degrees or credentials or sample of your work. That you need to first build trust with end clients, especially if they have never heard of you before. That's what we did. And also we built Antonio's branding here. By branding, I mean also the selection of colors that you see here. That's very consistent. The logo itself, the fonts, everything is a part of Antonio's branding. And the next time we're going to have Antonio, I would be glad to see your website, Antonio, that we have been, let's say, reviewing together in terms of structure and content, of course, not the technical details. That's something a professional, web developer can take care of. And that's why they exist. But also I teach how you can create a simple landing page, if you wish, in my 3-month mentoring program for people they don't want to invest. It's not mandatory to have a website to get direct clients, but that's a very common question I get asked. But a portfolio, for me, it's really important in order to build trust. And also it's very easy. So Antonio, he created that on his own, okay?
Yeah.
Amazing. Congratulations, Antonio.
Thank you.
Last question. What would you say to people that they're thinking of joining any mentoring program of mine and they're considering that it's, let's say they don't have the time or they don't have the money? Is there any advice you would like to share with those people?
Yes, do it, because no, because it's worth it. It's life-changing. It's you are not spending the money, you are investing. It's different.
And by not sharing, let's say, any tools that we're using, you mentioned that you're using AI tools that I told you in the program to get clients. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have they
Yes.
helped you, the tools? Like, what was the most helpful thing that you learned apart from the strategy that we create together and how to approach their clients that you mentioned earlier?
Yes, they were very useful. Can I mention? Can I
Yeah, we
mention the
cannot
tool?
mention tools, but we can mention
Okay.
what they do if you want. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is a tool which is very useful. It makes everything faster in terms of contacting clients, direct clients. And guys, you need to look for direct clients.
So that's a great. Let's close with this
Yeah.
topic.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Antonio. Is there anything else
Thank
you would
you.
like to add before we close?
No, I just want to thank you all, and thank you, Virginia, for the wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being so generous, Antonio. And even if you're so busy and run your business and you have your full-time job and at the same time your academic background, you are here today and you're sharing your experience to help other people as well and to motivate other colleagues. Thank you, everyone here in the comments and everyone that you're watching and you have been silent throughout the whole hour that we have been live. You see, time flies. You can book a free call with me in case you have more questions through the link that I'm sharing here in the chat. And last thing I would like to add, I'm running a free masterclass that will help you to create your 2026 success plan. So I'm going to help you to create your client acquisition strategy in, let's say, less than 2 hours through this masterclass. So that will happen in December 11th. On December 11th. So you can save your free spot through the link that I'm sharing here in the chat, and you can see here passing through. So thank you once again, everyone. Thank you, Antonio. Let's keep in touch and can't wait, Antonio, to have you once again with more successes here to share with the rest of the participants. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great
Thank
rest.
you.
Antonio,
Bye-bye.
you stay here with me.